Okay, so we're almost at that level we identified before at 25,550. We'll see what happens when we get there. Those little longs were pretty good. Getting a nice little 20-30 points out of those if you know the entry. That was the other short. And we'll see if we can get another short out of this. And if we can nail a really precise entry. So as soon as we get close to that level and we get a trade signal that's been filtered to be statistically significant, then I can short. If we don't get anything, then we just wait. I'll just keep this here. So when we get there, we want the impact residual to go more than 3 points, which means the RLS algorithm, sorry, the square root Kalman prediction was wrong by more than 3 points. And if those 3 points are statistically significant at that level, based on the volatility, then we can take the trade. It will tell us here. But it's hard to see on here because it moves so quickly that you won't be able to see it. You might not catch it, which is why we get these lines on the tick chart. So if you watch this, you can see how quickly it's updating. Every few hundred microseconds. So I'm just keeping an eye on this as well to make sure that doesn't get pulled when we get there. So sometimes you'll have liquidity in the book, and then when price actually gets there, it's pulled from the book, so it disappears. It doesn't actually get filled. So you need to keep a close eye on that as well. Let's do this. we'll just keep one eye on ES as well, because you can see we're feeling some liquidity here. Some more levels above where we've got lots of volume. So as we're getting in the level, we'll just keep a close eye on the indicator. The residual in pink gets plotted on every tick, um, but it doesn't mean that sometimes we'll get a significant residual at an event, but it won't be printed on the actual chart. So you can see that one, that residual was 2. There'll be events happening between each plot on the chart. So the one that's plotted is not necessarily the one that we trade from. Oh, so we got one there, and these are the ones I was explaining earlier when the delta pushes hard in one direction in the blue, and then the residual plots in the other direction in pink. So You can see that happen there in real time. And then you've got the red vertical line, which was the short signal, which happened exactly here. Which was it there? So there was an event at some microsecond which got plotted there, which was about 57. Is it 57? Yeah, which is at 2557, which ended up being there. So we had that level to wait for based on the order book. So we know approximately where price is going and where we're looking to short from. The actual trade got triggered here at 2557, which was right in that wick on the 10-second chart. And then we're expecting short-term move out of there, um, which is high. The short-term move is high probability. So we take a little short-term move out of there. Obviously, we don't know how far it's going, but we can just keep an eye on the order book to see what's going on. You can see all these contracts getting added there. So that doesn't necessarily mean that price is going to drop from here. That can be a spoof, which means those orders would disappear out of the book as price gets near to it. Um, so that doesn't mean that's going to be resistance. But let's see if we get a drop out of here now. Yeah, so for that trade to fire, the filter, both filters would have passed. So you could see that the residual went bigger than 3, which went down to 18. And the z-score would have been adequate for the regime that's been detected. So that would have passed as well. Both of those pass, and you get a trade signal for the short. Um, so I don't think anyone could have reacted fast enough to get it exactly in the wick. But you can see we get a short-term direction. At some point, I'm gonna try and automate this. So as soon as that happens, it'll get you in here, right in the wick. Again, so it's the same thing that happened on these lows, exact same thing, where the delta was pushing in one direction, which is blue, price hit into the level, and then the residual plotted in the opposite direction. So that's just saying that all the accumulated delta smacked into a level, and then the predictive algorithm was predicting price to carry on higher based on the order flow and the delta, but the prediction was wrong by that much. So it was wrong by 17 ticks. So that's just telling us that that level was going to hold, which it did. But obviously my entry wasn't that great. So if it was an automated entry from there, it would have been a much sharper move out of there. But we'll see how far this goes. You can see we got into that level, lots of volume, end auctions at the top, limits coming in above price. Let's have a look on ES. So lots of volume at these levels, lots of volume, end auctions at the top. And then it's up to you to manage the trade. So it's the same thing as all my other videos really, just get into a level, wait for the residual, get the trade. So all my videos are exactly the same. It's just every week or so I'm just making slight adjustments to the indicator to make it more precise and changing certain things on there. So before I used to use um, a classic recursive least squares algorithm, which I've changed now to be the square root Kalman, which is similar, still similar logic, and also I'm using intrinsic time now instead of updating on the clock. So before I used to update the signal every 100 microseconds. Now it's done every event, so which could vary in time, but that makes it more adaptive to volatility. So when price is moving fast, events are firing quicker. If price is moving slow, events are firing slower. Um, which just makes the whole thing a bit more accurate. So it's still being developed. I'm making small adjustments just to make it better, but already you can see the insane precision on the 10-second chart. This is just in this little range. And then we had that long down there. We had that short from there. Some shorts earlier. Some other shorts as well. So all the entries will be right at the turning point in price. You just don't know how far it's going. So that short obviously dropped 40 points and then we came back to take that high out. So it's not really for holding these long moves. It's just for nailing a precise entry and then taking a short-term move out of there. Which I prefer doing anyway because I don't want to be sitting around all day holding a trade. Just take a few points out there, a few points out there, a few points there and be done. Um, and that's it really. So if you check out my YouTube channel, you can see how I've built this and I go into a bit more depth on recursive least squares algorithm and then how I use the order flow imbalance and the delta to feed into the algorithm as well. And I'll talk a little bit about the studies that it came from. Um, so you can check that out if you like. It's all private at the moment, so if you request access, then I can give you access. So this is what the Kalman is calculating. So what we're plotting is the pre-update residual, which is the micro impact residual innovation, which is here. And we know the Kalman's working properly if the post-update residual is reduced by as close to 100% as possible. So that just means it's learning the impact of the OFI and the delta on price, and it's updating its knowledge constantly. and that's exponentially weighted. So you can change this in the settings, but it's placing more emphasis on the current price action and forgetting what's happening, or forgetting what it's learned over previous price action. So it makes it more adaptive. So you want it constantly adapting to the current price action, um, so the signals are more accurate on the tick chart. And I won't show you the other things on the output, but there's other things that feed into the indicator as well. So if we go back out onto the 1 minute, you can see all the little entries from today. You can see how we're getting the exact turning points in price. Longs from there, longs from there, longs from there. Shorts up here, shorts from right in the wick. But this could obviously just keep going higher. We are only predicting the short-term price move with high probability. So if you nail the entry, then it's up to you to manage it afterwards and use whatever risk management you use. But you can see the potential for a risk to reward on these. If you do get a precise entry, even if you're a little bit late, you can see how many points are potentially available, even if we're just in this range. We're not really trending. And the good thing about this is that you don't need candlesticks and you don't need to interpret candlesticks or look into past data at all. So there's no looking back in price and trying to determine where it's going to bounce. You're not drawing fibs to try and find where to take profit. That short was nailed right in the wick when there's nothing over here to the left. So you don't need candlesticks, you don't need historical data. You just need a good data feed. Market by order level 2 and something to quantify the data. So the level 2 looks like that on NinjaTrader, which is pretty disgusting. Which is why I like to have Bookmap up as well. Just because you get really nice visual and you can zoom right in. If you're interested in market mechanics, you can zoom right in and see exactly what's happening at the microsecond of price. And it's got all your standard order flow tools on there as well, like your CVD, footprints, whatever you guys use. But you don't really need any of it because the indicator does everything for you. You just need to be faster executing and have a bit faster reactions than me. But yeah, I'll do a bit more of teaching on how the indicator actually works. Because I've made a few changes to it from my previous videos. So I'm not using the RLS Classic anymore, and I'm not using time-based events anymore. So those were the two main things that I changed, and it's made it a bit more accurate. I was getting really good results before, but this is just makes it more adaptive to what price is doing. So in those times of high volatility, it will still be working as well as low volatility. Um, And I also added that filtering as well. So we're only taking the statistically significant trades, which I didn't have before. So that filter is very helpful. And yeah, that's about it. So if you want to learn a bit more, just apply for access, and you'll be able to see my YouTube channel. And I'm going to start posting a few more videos as well. But essentially, all my videos are the same. We're just hitting levels, getting a trade signal, and taking a little scalp in that direction. I don't go into price action or other indicators or order flow. I don't go into anything other than identifying levels and then quantifying what happens at the levels and then nailing precise entries and taking a short-term move. Because that's all you need to know. It's pretty simple. Um, the indicator itself and all the calculations is pretty complex, but it does all the work for you, and you just get simple trade signals. And you can see how precise it is on a 1 minute. So I'll try and put a few more videos out a bit more frequently. But yeah, let me close this. I'll cut the video here. It's been about half an hour, and I'll maybe do a few more videos later on.